Hi, my name is Jean. When I knew that I was going to make a video for this contest and we were going to tell a personal story, I thought of so many different stories that I could tell. And it was really hard to go through this little file in my head, like click, 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 maybe, click, 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 maybe. And then I even made a video and it was a little long and I thought, well, I'll look at it again and maybe I'll redo it. Well, there's that saying, why don't you sleep on it and maybe something will come to you? Well, yesterday that's exactly what happened. I woke up and I had this thought in my head, and it referred to this journal that I had started writing about 12 years ago. And the title of this one little piece was called, Where is Your Mother When You Need Her? Well, I thought that's going to be perfect and I don't want to forget it. So I wrote it down very quickly at home, just scratched it on a piece of paper. I went to work and I wanted to write it down again. So in between, I could look at that title and kind of let things percolate in my head of what I wanted to say. Well, my day didn't turn out the way that I thought it would, but it was so interesting to me that that very question that I asked in the morning, where is your mother when you need her, tied in so much with what happened to me yesterday. So I want to stay in the present and then go back and show how those two thoughts link to each other. First of all, what happened to me yesterday is I got to work and I checked in, and I'm a receptionist and the window is up here and the computer is here and there's not much room on the desk, and so the pencils were way up here. And I went to get one and I wanted to move it down over here so it'd be easier for me to reach when patients came in. So here I am. I grabbed the pencils. I'm still thinking about that thought of the title that I want to use for this video. And I turned like this. I got this can of, or this whole container of pencils and pens in my hand. I'm getting ready to talk to the girl over there and say, guess what? I thought of a topic. And I went to sit down. And as I sat down, I'm sitting down for this video, but it was a chair, that's, I'm trying to move over so you can see it. It rolls, and this one's really secure, but that one isn't. And that one, if you sit on the tip like I did, it just flew back behind me. And I'll show you with my good arm, it crashed down on the desktop, and then I was on the floor. And everybody around the office came running. Even a few patients on the other side of the window saw me. And of course everybody's concerned, and I decided I'm not moving. My mindfulness training from years ago kicked in, and I thought, okay, just breathe. Just breathe. So I went, then I opened my eyes and I see everybody just around looking at me, wondering, am I okay? Well, the doctor heard me hit the floor, and he comes over, and I'm going to demonstrate with this arm again. And he says, can you move your arm? And I said, I don't think so. And he said, are you sure? And so I tried pulling it away. I couldn't. It was just like glued to my body. I could not move it. So he said, you're going to have to go to the hospital and get it x-rayed. And he sent a nurse with me. So I'll just kind of jump quickly through this part. I went to emergency. I had x-rays that were excruciating, but that's beside the point. And it turns out that I had broken this part of my shoulder right here. And so if I move forward, backward, shift weight, it hurts a lot. And so there's no way they could cast it. So I'm not exactly sure what the outcome of this is going to be. And I know I'm going to have challenges, but I'll meet them as they come. But the nurse was bringing me home, and she drove through Walgreens to get my medicine. And I'm sitting there, and I know I'm coming to an empty house. And I'm thinking, where is my mother when I need her? Or not just need her, I really wanted her. And then I thought back to how interesting is this, that here I am saying how much I want my mom, and it takes me back to that story that I was thinking about this morning. Well, the story that I was referring to 12 years ago is that my mother had Alzheimer's, and she was in those middle stages where I didn't know what she knew until something happened, and then I realized she didn't know what it was. Well, one day she was rubbing her shoulder a lot, and I said, "Mom, does that hurt you?" And she said, "Well, it's a little sore." And so I gave her some Tylenol, and I decided, I made a mental note to keep watching because she may not be able to tell me how much it hurts. And so the next day she was still rubbing it, so I decided to take her to the doctor. And the doctor thought, it's probably okay, but let's just double check. Well, he took an x-ray, and when he took the x-ray, he let my mom and I sit in his office, oh my gosh, was beautiful. He is very much interested in Native American life, so while we were waiting, I'm showing my mom all these beautiful pictures on the wall, and then he had these wonderful like statues with little plaques that you see in the magazine. So we were pretty entertained while we were waiting. Inside my heart's going, what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong? And trying not to let my mom know. And so then the doctor came in, and he's holding two x-rays. Like, here's one x-ray, here's the other x-ray. One was taken in June, this one was taken in July. And he looks at me and he said, "Life is a bitch." And I could see on those x-rays that this x-ray was clear. This one showed her lung with a huge mass. So at that moment, once it hit me, I asked the doctor if a nurse could come get my mother and say that she had to go weigh her or something just to get her out of the room so I could talk to the doctor. So the doctor said I had some decisions to make about what to do for my mom. And so we talked about, just briefly, that she would have probably 6 months to live. And did I want to go with palliative care? Did I want to go with chemo? And at that moment, I really didn't know. I was pretty much in shock. I wanted time to think about it. I wanted to talk to my brother. And so I made an appointment to go back a few days later. So after that, I picked up my mom in the waiting room, kind of took her hand, and we kind of walked along, and she said, what was going on? And I said, "Oh, I just wanted to talk to the doctor, and we were just getting some of your medicine straightened out," because I didn't want her in that room, because I didn't know what she still remembered and what she didn't, but I pretty much had an idea that she might know what that, big C means, and, the big C for cancer. And I didn't want to scare her. So I remember walking out to the car with her, and she's talking away, and I'm trying to answer. And I remember the day was so sunny and bright, and she was kind of chattering in her way. I mean, not totally coherent, but I knew she wanted lunch. So I took her for lunch, and that lunch was the longest lunch I've ever sat through. And I almost hated being there with her because I had so much love in my heart, and there's so much I wanted to tell her, and I couldn't. So we finished lunch. I brought her home, and there's a caregiver that I had hired during the summer because I knew I'd be going back to work in about a month or two. And so I went to the park, and I found a really, really nice park bench, kind of far away from people, but it was quiet, it was shaded, and I sat down, and I looked around at everybody, and I looked at the sky, and I thought, for all these people, their life is the same, but for me, mine just changed like that. And as I sat there trying to figure out what to do, I started to cry because I knew the one person that I wanted to talk to was my mother. And my mother was the one person I could not discuss this with. So Every story has like a little moral. Every story has a little tale, learning. Well, between that experience and this present experience, of course, I realize how much I miss my mother. But more important, no, it's not more important than that, but what I learned is life can change on a dime, like that. And I'm sure it's probably happened to many of you. So on my refrigerator, I have written, do what you can, when you can. Don't take life for granted. And enjoy the people you're with and the people that you can help. And for an example, just my own little example, the day before yesterday, I went dancing. The day after that, I fell, broke this arm. I was supposed to go to a dance on Saturday. I'm not going to be able to go. And so I really am aware of doing what I can when I can. I've tried to live my life by that. So you could bet that a couple of days ago, I really had a good time at the dance. And so I've been trying to carry that through my life. I've tried to make that my message to many people, along with helping people understand how to live with people who are going through the Alzheimer's experience. And so that is what I write about. I write about families. I write about love, caring for each other, and the dynamics and the opportunities that we should not let go by. So I have lots of other stories that I'd like to share with you, but I'll have to close now. And I hope you'll vote for me so I can share some of those stories with you later on. Thank you.